This is gonna ruffle some feathers, but there is a gross entitlement in women who refuse to go 50-50.
We call ourselves feminists, but when it comes to going 50-50 with a man, we move back. That feminists don't want to go 50-50 with a man, but in every other thing, they want to be equal with men. So why can't you share views with a man? Let me show you the clip.
This is gonna ruffle some feathers, but there is a gross entitlement in women who refuse to go 50-50, who think it's ridiculous to go 50-50. I think it's ridiculous that you think it's ridiculous. Are you literally insane? If you are pro-woman, if you're a feminist, if you don't like the constrictions placed on you by gender roles and expectations, why would you, in your right mind, believe that just because he's a man, he has to pay more? That's ludicrous. Sprinkle culture is diabolical because what's going on? Treat him as your equal. You guys are equals. If you are going to place any expectations on someone purely because of their gender, that's unfair. It's not justified. Period. Point blank, period. I've never expected my boyfriend to pay for our dates. We will split food. Unless someone offers to pay for your meal or offers to pay for something or gets you a gift, you cannot expect someone to dote on you financially. Like, why does that have to happen in your relationship? You have to have a man that can solely provide for you. Are you insane? We fought for decades. Our mothers and grandmothers and their grandmothers fought for equality, fought for the right to work, fought for the right to be able to be an equal. But you want to financially trap yourself.
So let me get this straight. So let us get this straight. A man will ask me on a date. I will dress up and look good for the date. Go for the date. Then when it's time to pay, we'll share 50-50 on the meal. Then that makes me a good feminist because we split the bill on the dates. You see the 50-50 conversation. It's so see if you want to go 50-50, go 50-50. Leave us alone that we're not going 50-50 because there's no how. Hey guys, if you've been following me from from a long time, you will know that 50-50, I don't want to even hear it. I don't want to even hear it. Why you want to go 50-50 with a man that you want your date? Why you even split going 50-50 on a first date or second? Even the ones you are dating or you're married to, why are you going 50-50 with them? Because there's nothing 50-50 in a relationship with this man. We do more. We do way more than they bring to the table. So going 50-50, it is not even like it's not reasonable at all. You guys, I have free reaction, but I'd like to know your thought about this. Are you saying that 50-50, if you want to be a feminist, a true feminist, we should go 50-50 because we want everything to be equal with men. We want to have the same this with men. We want to be equal with men. So let us all go 50-50 and be sharing the bills when the bills come. Let me know your thought about this video down in the comment section. I have interesting reaction. Let's watch this reaction together then. We'll come back and discuss.
Stuff with a man and then call us crazy for going 50-50? Girl, if you are pro-woman, if you're a feminist, if you don't like the constrictions placed on you by gender roles and expectations, why would you, in your right mind, believe that just because he's a man, he has to pay more?
Because I understand that equality and equity are not the same thing. Equality is sameness. Equity is fairness. And if you are a feminist, which you claim to be, you should understand the unequal distribution of labor among men and women, particularly in a heterosexual romantic context. I used to think this too, because on the surface, it seems like what you're saying makes sense until you think deeper. Of course, men and women are equal in terms of our value as human beings. We should be paid equally for the same labor, etc. But in a romantic situation, in a household, if you are dating for a long-term situation, that labor division is not now, nor has it ever been equal. And your boyfriend doesn't actually have to pay anything. Neither does mine, or neither does anybody else's, because he doesn't actually have to go out with me. That's not compulsory. But if you want my time, and the only people who would think that that is unfair is those who think that men are entitled to women. Do you believe that men are entitled to women? Because it sure sounds like it, which, by the way, not very feminist. You know that line from Back to the Future, where Doc is setting out a scenario and Marty is like, but Doc, that's never going to work because X, Y, and Z. And he's like, Marty, you're just not thinking fourth dimensionally. Amanda, you're just not thinking equitably.
There's a gross entitlement in women who refuse to go 50.
So I see we're doing this again. The whole going 50-50 on a date conversation. And I'm going to say this. It's time that the youngins listen to their elders on this topic. Because I'll tell you what, going 50-50 on a date doesn't make feminism disappear any more than it makes equality appear. Because the man you're on this date with has a completely different agenda than you do. He is on that date with you to get in your pants as fast, as cheaply, and with as little effort as possible. And what you're doing by doing this is kicking the door wide open for him. Here you go, buddy. Here's a freebie. In the name of feminism, and let me tell you what, when you pass on, I don't think the feminist gods are up there keeping a tally, okay? This is the issue with dating and being attracted to your natural enemy, all right? So, I know you're gonna say, because a bunch of people said it in the comments, well, don't date a guy like that. Don't date a guy who won't go 50-50 with you on everything until the end of time. And again, this is why it's important to listen to your elders who have been there and done that. It doesn't matter. You do not know that man on date 1, on date 10. You largely don't know him after you're married, and especially after you have kids. Every single hypothetical conversation that you had about going 50-50 in the house, going 50-50 on the bills, going 50-50 with the kids, all of that shit can go out the window. And your prepaid tokens early on these dates are meaningless. Listen, honeybee. This guy can't even find your clit until a good 7 months in. But you want to prepay for the privilege. Do what you want. Do what you want. Walk outside your house and set your dollar bills on fire right now. Here's the thing. I am not a total hater. I believe whoever asks anyone else on the date should pay. The difference is that I ain't asking a man to do shit with me.
There's a gross entitlement in women who refuse to go.
You people are under spells. And the only reason why I'm making this video is because I know there's probably some women out there who kind of feel off about the notion of paying 50-50 and they probably don't know why, and men are kind of spitting this rhetoric onto them. But then it's like when you hear it from a woman, you might think, oh, maybe this is true. And a woman who says she's a feminist, you might think, oh, it is feminist for me to go 50-50. I just want to say that there is a difference between in theory and in reality, okay? In theory, we should all be 50-50 and we should all be equal, but that's not the reality, okay? In reality, men make more on the dollar than women do in this country. It is dangerous to go on a date with a man, as they are predators and they assault women more than men in this country as well. And women do more emotional and physical labor, especially in the men do. And while I can say, oh, but me and my partner, we do equal stuff, or even in the emotional sense, like he's very emotionally aware, that's fine, but you do not live in a vacuum. If you live in this world, if you live in this country, then on average, you are probably going to have the skills to be a better partner than a man would be, just how we're raised, how it's programmed into us, how we don't get away with certain things that men do get away with. We also don't get excuses made for us when doing the domestic work or even like raising a kid. Like if a man watches his kid for like 2 seconds, they're like, oh my God, he's such a good dad, where it's like a mom, she doesn't get away with that kind of stuff. All of these things just kind of add up to a woman is going to be a better partner while making less money and while paying for things like makeup and razors and everything else. And you can say that you don't use it, that's fine, but there is also more of a pressure for us to do that, or there will be consequences, especially like emotional in the way that people treat us when we don't use those things like razors or makeup, which are an expense. And it is dangerous to go out on a date with a man because they assault women. Women. So more damaging for your reputation to be seen with a man than it is for a man to be seen with a woman. He actually gains points in his reputation. I feel like the most important is a man who has a woman partner lives longer, where a woman lives longer when she doesn't have a partner statistically. So it's just like, what are you getting out of going on a date, especially if you have to pay for it? If a man is paying for it, in my eyes, that is when it starts to get equal. Especially in the beginning when you're dating, but it's like when you're in a relationship or when you're married, like you really can do whatever you want. It's really about the choice and the option. But to call yourself a feminist and then say it's ridiculous and disgusting about these women, and that's the issue you're focusing on, women should go 50-50, and like shaming these women instead of shaming men who assault women, shaming the system that sets it up so women don't make as much money as men and they're not seen as capable in the workplace, and you're not shaming the men who don't have EQ and don't have domestic skills to make them good partners. For you to go all the way down to one of the symptoms of how we're coping with this unfairness to make it a little bit more fair, and you're attacking that instead of all the other things that make it to that point where we have to go to that place because it's unfair, is like, you're disgusting. I think you're actually really the one that's disgusting, in my opinion. There's so many disadvantages if you're just going into it straight for being with a man. So he has to provide extra for it to be equal. That is called equity, okay? And this is why intersectionality is important in your feminism, because to me, this is kind of the same. She probably is the kind of person who's like, doesn't believe in affirmative action because they think it's unfair. Like, meanwhile, it negates all the historical inequalities that led to having to do something like affirmative action in the first place. I feel like this is kind of the same thing. And it is that deep, I feel like.
This is gonna ruffle some feathers, but there is a gross entitlement in women who refuse to go 50-50, who think
the patriarchy has done a great job of tricking women into doing free labor. The patriarchy has done a great job of making people and women undervalue women's work. This content creator asks, why should a man pay more? Just because he's a man? No. Not just because he's a man. He should pay more because women are disadvantaged in this society. He should pay more because of the invisible labor that women are not being compensated for. He should pay more because of the socioeconomic benefits he gets from being with women. The patriarchy has tricked women into devaluing the work that women do and the benefits that women bring into men's lives, to the point that we don't even consider it when we're talking about 50-50, because what this creator is really talking about is money, right? The finances of things, 50-50 money. So this creator has completely ignored and skipped over all of the non-financial benefits that women bring into men's lives. Even those quote-unquote non-financial benefits still manifest into financial benefits. So when we're talking 50-50, right, you're talking about the finances, going 50-50 on the finances. Can a man go 50-50 on being pregnant? Can a man go 50-50 on labor, delivering a child? Can a man go 50-50 on breastfeeding, pumping for a child? Carrying, delivering, and rearing children has been such devalued work because, again, it's women's work. This idea that having a whole entire body inside of your body for 10 months that is growing by siphoning energy from you, nutrients from you, to the point that some bitches lose their teeth, lose their hair, because that baby has siphoned so much energy from you. This whole idea that growing a whole other human being using your actual physical body for 10 months is just like a Tuesday is wild. And it is patriarchal propaganda. This idea that some of the most intensive labor, carrying a child to term, is just like, oh, well, it's no big deal. Whatever. That doesn't require any compensation. Women are doing this for free. Women do this for free. Meanwhile, you have surrogates who are getting paid tens of thousands of dollars to do this for other women. Why is it that if a woman is doing it for another woman, she gets paid, but if she's having a baby for her husband or for her man, she doesn't deserve to get paid for that? And because we've been so programmed to dismiss women's work, we look at carrying children like it's nothing. It's not worth being compensated for. And so I ask the question again, how can a man go 50-50 on pregnancy? And then we devalue delivering babies, right? Women are sitting here dying in childbirth, okay? That, first of all, that's if they made it to the childbirth, because let's go back to pregnancy. Some women die in pregnancy. So you have women putting their lives on the line to bring babies into this world, and we just act like it's not that's just, like I said, a regular Tuesday. So a woman will go into labor. Some women will be in labor for days, laboring for days, pushing these babies out. Can a man go 50-50 on labor? And don't even get me started on the men who go home to sleep while the wife is in labor because they're uncomfortable on the couch. Even if you have a wonderful partner who really is a partner, can he go 50-50 on delivering that baby with you, for you? He can't. What about breastfeeding, pumping? Even if your husband is taking care of the kid, unless you're not breastfeeding, which most women do, unless you're not breastfeeding, who's producing the milk? You are. Who's breastfeeding the child? You are. Who's pumping the milk? You are. Can your man go 50-50 on that with you? Let's talk about labor in the home. Will your man go 50-50 on labor in the household? Because studies have shown that even the most progressive men are still not pulling their weight in the house. Studies show that even the most progressive men fall back into gender roles when they live with women. So I know we like to believe that we're the unicorn who's gonna find the unicorn, that one guy who's gonna, but the truth is, he doesn't really exist. There's a tiny percentage of men who are actually the unicorn that every woman swears she's gonna find. So in a typical relationship, if you're having children, the woman is doing 100% of carrying the children, 100% of delivering the children, and most of the child rearing of said child. Then when it comes to the household, whether you have children or not, the woman is taking on the majority of the burden of the household. And now let's just say, hypothetically, you did find that one unicorn. You found that unicorn who does 50% of the housework without you having to tell them. That's another thing. Y'all bitches is out here talking about, oh, my man, he's an equal partner. He does help around the house. You see? He does, do things around the house. He's an equal partner. But yeah, I have to write out like what he has to do for him. I have to do the mental labor of writing out lists and splitting up the work, but he still does it. But let's just say that you got lucky and you do have that unicorn man who is actually an active participant in the household, an active equal participant in the child rearing. Financially, he's contributing equally. Let's say you did find that unicorn. How can you then go 50-50 on the benefits that you as a woman provide to that man in that relationship? What am I talking about? I'm talking about the social boost, the clout that men get when they are in association with women. When they have a wife or a girlfriend, they get social benefits for that. They get social clout for that. I'm talking about the fact that married men on average make more money than single men do. I'm talking about the fact that married men are physically healthier than single men. The fact that married men live longer than single men. Meanwhile, the exact opposite is true for married or coupled up women. When women get with men, their life expectancy goes down, their health goes down, their job prospects go down. When men get with women, everything gets better for them. So how can a man go 50-50 in that circumstance when just by his very existence, he is siphoning from you? You mean to tell me you married a man or you coupled up with a man, now your life expectancy has gone down, your health outcomes have gone down, your financial prospects have gone down, your mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being has depreciated as well, and you are still paying 50-50? That ain't 50-50, Bookie. That's not 50-50. That's you draining yourself dry so that this man can win. And don't even get me started on the energetic exchange, okay? Because these are siphoning our energy to give themselves an energy boost. Why do you think strange men catcall you on the street? You think it's because they really want your number? No, they want your attention. Why? Because attention is energy flow. It is energy flow, and they're drinking it up, and they're feeling stronger and bigger, and you're frustrated and miserable because your walk down the street. You're wondering why that dude is pressed up against you in the elevator, even though there's plenty of space. It's because he's drinking your energy up, girl. And you're sitting here talking about, we need to go 50-50. Y'all are ignoring the invisible benefits that the patriarchy taught you to ignore for this exact reason.
I don't even see how this is reasonable for you to go 50-50 with a man. I don't know how it's reasonable. I don't know. What are we sharing? Is it possible for a man and woman to be in a relationship and it's 50-50? You know, when I see some couples come out to say, oh, well, we do for everything 50-50, like, it's how? You're definitely doing more as a woman. The earlier you know that, the better. If you decide on your own, okay, for me, I will split the bill with this man. It's your decision. You decided to do it. It is not you doing it and feel like, because you're doing it makes you extraordinary woman or makes the relationship better. No. The man actually has more than you. If you're doing 50-50, he has more than you. He has way more than you. Because I don't understand. You see that first date on annoys me more than anything. Because you're asking a woman out on a date. She's going to look good. Probably get a new hair and makeup. Do you know how much makeup costs? Do you know how many hours she has to sit down to prep her face? Our skincare product, our dress, our everything, heels, everything, look good, snatch everywhere. Then go out on a date with you that will just wear shirt and trouser. Just shirt and trouser. Then we'll split the bill. Do you think that she's hungry? She cannot afford to eat, to take herself out on a normal day. Then her splitting the bill with you shows that she's a good woman or she's a wife material or something. If you cannot afford to take a woman out on a date, don't take her out on a date. You see that 50-50 first date, I don't even think it's supposed to be a conversation. In fact, I didn't even know it existed until all these viral videos started going up, because it doesn't make sense in my own head. So now, going 50-50 in a relationship is not possible. Like, it's not possible. It's not possible. If you're talking about the money aspect, most of the time, even these men make more money than we women. It's not possible. There are lots of emotional labor we put in the relationship that is way more than money. The fact that you even exist and you are staying in the same apartment with a man, I don't even think money can buy that. That alone, money cannot buy that. So we will not start sharing 50-50 on money, on this, on that. Like, oh, you guys. What's your take on this conversation? Do you think feminists, you mean that yes, if you're a true feminist, you're supposed to go 50-50 on views or 50-50 on things with a man that you're in a relationship with, even on first dates? Do you think that shows that you're a true feminist, or that is just you just being delulu? Let me know your thought down in the comment section. Respectfully, as always, Jogo Mara Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.